good. How are you?
I'm really good.
Nice to meet you.
You as well. Finally.
Yes. So we met on Twitter.
Yep.
Hi everyone. Welcome to the Homegirls podcast. I started this podcast for women of all kinds to come and share their story, and you saw one of my tweets and was like, oh, I have a story. It was about telling a story. So you're one of my first podcast guests. You're actually the second one on my new relaunch. So that's exciting. And
Yeah.
I started it just for everyone to come on and share their story of where they started their healing journey. And I know you said that you were a military brat. Is that what they call them?
Yep.
Yeah. And so, welcome, Tiffany. So, yeah, share your story. The floor is yours. This is the platform to be vulnerable as you want. Vulnerability means different things with different people. For people who have been following my podcast, I have talked about things from my own sexual assault, from my no contact with my mom. So this is a safe space to be as vulnerable as you want to, because it will help someone. So floor is yours.
Okay.
It's me getting to know you too. So this is this is the creative part. It's like I've never met any of the women that come on here, but I know everyone has a story to tell. So however you want to start.
Well, I'm Tiffany. I was born in New York.
Ooh.
My parents, I think they had a lot of struggles, but
Were they married?
Yeah, they were.
Oh.
My mom, like my dad, I believe he dropped out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
But my mom, she graduated like at 15.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they were together rather young. But one of the things that I really appreciate is that despite whatever like things they had going on, whatever foolishness, riffraff, they kind of always had a forward mind.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
And it was like, I can see now in my life today where their choices like landed me, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
But so yeah, I lived in New York for a little while. My dad joined the military, and then we moved to Savannah, Georgia. Life was like perfect to me in my eyes. And then, it just came crashing down. My dad went like overseas and did things like that. And when he came back, he just wasn't
the same. What year, or like what, because I didn't even ask your age. So what year around to just update? Because the people have to get a visual, because this is going to be just audio.
I'm 33, so I was born in 1989. Okay. And I'm a September girl. So yeah, it was probably like 91, 90, 91, 92, 91 through about 94.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I just remember back in those days when people came back from being deployed, there wasn't like all this mental health stuff. You know what I'm saying?
All, yeah.
Yeah. So it was kind of just like,
well, there wasn't even like internet.
Yeah.
Things. Yeah.
So when he came back, he started abusing my mom, and it was just like.
Was that the first time?
Yes.
Wow. So it was a surprise for you. How old were you around that? Like,
I was probably like 5. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Oh.
Yeah. I was just like, whoa, my world crashed, because it was just like, this is not what I'm accustomed to. And now, what is happening?
Just domestic violence. Just.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I remember even like fighting him sometimes, because I didn't understand. I was like, dude, I remember the first few times I didn't know how to feel, because I was a daddy's girl, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, what is going on? Like, what is this? But the time that he like thoroughly pissed me off, and I was just like, yeah, I'm over it. my mom and I were getting ready to like have movie night, girl time. She made hot chocolate with the marshmallows and the whole shebang.
Oh.
And he just came in like a violent fit. And I just remember the hot chocolate stain on the wall. And I would pass it every time, and I would just be so pissed with him, like, because now
Yeah.
you're ruining my stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're ruining
Yeah.
my time. And yeah, so thankfully my mom had the sense to leave. She didn't try to like, you
Yeah.
know, play that game.
Mm-hmm.
But I did not plan on telling all of this. Okay.
I know people get on
So
here like, whoo. That's it. I know. We'll get through it. We'll get through it though, because this is gonna help some. Like this is, yeah. Your story is matters and it's amazing. So keep going. I know. Just breathe. We can stop if you want and just 3 deep breaths. I'm a meditation coach, so we can just breathe from your abdomen.
Okay. So when I tell you how things are now, it's like it's wonderful.
Yeah.
So my parents, you know, my mom tried to do like the custody thing with him where I saw him you know, every so often. And this fool actually kidnapped me. Took me from Georgia to New York. And yeah,
Did you know you
I
were being
remember.
kidnapped? How scary was that? How old were you?
Yeah, I knew something was amiss because we got stopped by the police.
Ooh.
And he told me to hide. Mm.
Oh my
And I was just, I
God.
mean, it's like, but you're a kid. It's just like, what
You
can
just
you
listen
do?
to the adult. Yeah, you listen.
You know,
Ooh.
I know in my head what's what, but it's like, you know, these people, what's happening?
Yeah.
So I just remember we got to New York. I blocked out a lot of things, but I do remember the cops surrounding the house and just, it was crazy.
Has he gotten therapy since? Does he know that he has like PTSD? Do you know his symptoms or diagnosis or?
Yeah, he actually works for the VA now.
That's good.
Yeah, so he got a lot of help. Our relationship has healed. You know, it's not perfect, but it's way better than what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how did you know when how did that happen? All of what happened to you when you were younger, what struggles do you think it brought into your adulthood? And when did you see that you needed healing? Like when did you feel, what moment, how did that moment go for you?
I think for a while, it probably made me passive in like my childhood. People would say otherwise, but
yeah.
I think I took a lot from adults in my life. And so, yeah, I didn't really realize how deep it was until I had my daughter. So I have an 8-year-old daughter.
Yeah. Oh, congratulations.
Yeah.
I have a 9-year-old boy. I have 3 boys.
Yeah. I have a boy and a girl. So my daughter's 8, my son is 5. But when I had her, that really, she put a lot of things into perspective for me about just like, whoa, like I don't want to teach her certain things. And, you know, so that's really what it was.
How old were you when you had her? I can't
24.
do math like that.
I was 24 years old.
24, yeah. Oh, so at 24, is that when you started your healing journey, or just that's when you noticed something? I need to change some stuff for her, because I know we heal a lot through our children, but when I started getting therapy, I realized like we wear so many hats as women. Like I'm a mom, you're a mom. Do you have siblings?
No, I'm an only child.
Oh, yeah. So I'm a sister, or you could be daughter. You know, we just wear so many hats. So when we take those hats off, it's like, who are you? Did you have to do some identity or intimacy? Did it come into relationships from what you've been through? Anything that you'd like to share from there?
When I graduated high school and I got to college, I was out here in Atlanta and I went into severe depression. Did not know what was going on. And when I look back in hindsight, my childhood, it was just so many traumatic experiences that I never really like processed. And so when I got to college, that was my first time like alone and actually just like really looking at myself and going like, what has happened? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you actually feel about that thing? And just, man, so that's where the healing journey began for me. It was just like, I didn't even know what I was doing. I remember calling my mom and just like asking her things about my dad, asking like, what should I do? Just questioning a lot. That was the first
Yeah.
time.
And did you
Yeah.
get therapy? What forms did you do? Did you do just self-help tools, or what
It
what
was
did you do?
so I didn't start therapy until after I had my children.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So that whole time it was just me living and
Yeah.
learning and
Yeah.
figuring it out. One of the things that I really learned is like the more that I know myself, then the easier it is for me to like come up with things to help cope or just
Mhm.
help process whatever I need to process.
Help you
It
feel
makes it
comfortable.
easier. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like just a cheat code. Okay, if I realize, I'm doing this when this happens, then I can breathe or
Mhm.
stretch or just maybe I need to go for a walk.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. With your dad now, do you talk to him often? Did you ever get the chance to confront him about your childhood, or is it just something you had to heal and not bring up with him? Like, can he take the accountability, or has he taken accountability?
So one of the things my childhood has made me is like really ferocious in my communication.
Yeah.
So he definitely heard everything I had to say.
Yeah.
We have discussed it. We still discuss it. It's still, different things. And like when I first reconnected with him, his level of understanding was at one place.
Mm,
And then over the years, he kind of, it's like a flower. It just kind of blooms and he
yeah.
understands things a little bit better. So yeah.
You grow. You see, you guys are growing. I love that. Love that for you.
And we talk
um,
all the time, actually. So
Oh, that's
yeah.
good. That's good. I wish it's so weird. My dad kind of did the same behaviors. He wasn't in the military, but and I don't think he necessarily kidnapped us. I think he kept us longer than what he was supposed to for the summer, and it went over. But it was like this whole ordeal. But I live like 40 minutes from him and barely see him. So I love when other women come on like, yeah, we're getting a relationship. I'm like, how do you even start that? Do you have any advice for women like me that I want a relationship with my dad, but if they're at a different place, like you said, if it's like a flower that blooms, if they're just planted without blooming and just there's nothing, how does someone start that? Like, did you reach out? Did he reach out? How did that happen from going no contact to contacting him, or did
Um,
you contact him?
he reached out to me,
Okay.
and from there it was just like baby steps because the other person has to want to do it. And it
Mm,
would be times where we would have discussions about hard things, and he would respond in a way that I was like, "That's unacceptable. Like I accept your feelings, but realistically, these things happen, and you got to be serious."
mm,
Sometimes I wouldn't. I would have to cut him off and not talk to him for a couple months, and he would sit with stuff, and then he would reach back out to me and go, I understand this. I probably
mm.
should have not. So it's baby steps.
At least he's communicating. That's a blessing. I don't know why I'm tearing up. I think I want what you guys are growing. You always want that. I tell everybody all the time, like, even though we have dads and sometimes we become bitter with them, not you, but other women that I've experienced like a bitterness. It's like I'm not bitter. I genuinely want a relationship with him, but like you said, some people have to start that. So I love that he took accountability to at least call you. Like that's the first step. Call. Call your daughters. Like, we need our fathers. That's it comes into our relationships, I feel, in the men we choose, and I don't know. I'm glad that my husband's the way he is, because I think he's healing a lot of my father wounds with that. I'm
Mm.
struggling with that in life because mm, he's like everything I kind of wanted my dad to be. He's not old or anything on it, but it's just like I think when, in marriage, like you look for a little bit of that, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I'm divorced 3 years.
Okay.
I got with my ex-husband super young. We were like
Mm.
19 when we met.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
but everything was like planned out. Like we planned our kids. I wasn't
Oh,
really, yeah.
that's
But
good.
I think I've been blessed to have like really good men around me that are not my father.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that also has been a big help
Yeah.
in how I deal with him.
That's good.
So one of my best friends of 16 years is a man.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he's, you know, been nothing but a friend, and just like I really appreciate that friendship. It
Yeah.
teaches me a lot. But that, and I kind of, once I learned my dad's like life story, and
Mm-hmm.
it helped me understand and like humanize him.
Mm.
And so that also made it easier for me to kind of like, okay, he's a person, he went through a lot of things that he probably, hasn't been able to process. And I have to give that some grace as well. So I
Mm-hmm.
can't expect him to just be this perfect person I have in my head.
Father. Yeah.
Yeah, just as I gotta, as long as he's trying, I'm just like, okay,
Yeah.
you know, you're
Yeah.
not causing me any harm or anything like that, then I'm good with that.
It's good. I love your story. That's beautiful. Oh, I love
Thank you.
it. It is. I'm happy for you. Sorry. I try not to do that because
No,
I'm
it's
just
okay.
but I love that for you. I really do. Where do you see you guys, like, how is he with your children? Is it growing, that does he have to kind of grow your relationship to get to building a relationship with them, or
He has a relationship with them. It's been My dad works at the VA hospital in New York City. So COVID and stuff, I have not seen him in years because
mm,
of his
yeah.
job. But we're planning to get together soon. He's thinking about retiring so he can move down to Georgia with me. So
Girl.
yeah.
You're like fulfilling all. See, I know, and that's why I tell people, I'm like, everybody I meet is always God ordained, because it comes right when I need it, like right on my spiritual growth and spiritual health, like everything I'll journal. It's like someone will come along and be like, this is the steps and this is what I'm doing. This is what's happening. I'm like, I heal vicariously through people, I feel. Because I'm like, I don't, as long as someone is experiencing that, I think I feel okay through these stories. I do.
I'm happy for
That's
you.
beautiful. I'm happy for you. I'm so happy for you. I really hope he gets down there, and again, you guys continue to grow not just the flower but the garden, because now his legacy, you gave birth, you're his only child, you gave birth to his legacy, so that's beautiful. I love
Yeah,
that for you.
it's been wonderful.
Is there anything else you would like to share? Do you have any businesses that you do that you want to, like, or social medias that anybody would want to follow? Although my Instagram social following, I'm really bad at Instagram, but I know last month I reached 27,000 followers or listeners, so people are listening. Yes. I know, right? I was like, me
Hey.
too. When I looked at that graph, I was like, oh. And my analytics show it's from ages, mostly women. It's like 76% women that listen. Thank you guys. And it's from ages 18 to 64. So it's gonna help.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, everybody.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, well, you can just follow my Instagram. It's Tiffany Mac, but TIPHANEMAC on Instagram.
And I will
Yeah,
make sure I put that in the show notes.
thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Thank you for coming on, sharing your stories. How's your mom's healing? Did she ever get remarried?
No, you know what? I actually just talked to my mother about that a few months ago, and I was just like, because of my divorce, I'm like, I my ex-husband and I are friends still. It's just like
That's good.
it
You
taught me
should be.
about
That's
growth.
normal.
Yeah, it just taught me like we just kind of, I'm 33 now. We were 19 when we met. It's like
Yeah.
he is in himself and his direction is just not my direction, and that's okay. But I still want love, and neither one of my parents have like remarried or anything. So I'm like, I talk to them about that. Like, I wish you guys wouldn't be so scary.
Well, because you
So
never, I mean, they ended off of something that he couldn't control, not just like he wanted to hit her. That was really, he was walking around with a mental illness, and now that he has this mental health going and this consistency and growing with you, who knows? Just keep your. I'm sorry. Do you believe in God? I don't want to
yes, I
miss.
do.
Yeah, so just keep your prayers going, girl. Like everything you pray for, and bless your family. Our prayers matter, especially being. I know that I'm the eldest girl, and something about the women when I read the Bible, how wisdom is her and she, and I'm just thinking like maybe we're meant to break some generational curses here, because I feel like it's a whole movement. The more women I meet through, like, I join like a lot of Facebook groups, and I'm a stay-at-home mom, so that's my only entertainment is this and joining Facebook groups. But a lot of women are on like that spiritual path of just, we're breaking this and breaking this now because of what we know today from the internet, from just our skill sets, our creativity. It just comes to us. That's what the Bible is. It's a bunch of journals. It's a document that God literally told a bunch of people to write down. It's just a bunch of journals, accurate to our spirituality, but that's really what it is. So keep writing, keep journaling if you don't already. But it's
and I will
exciting.
say this,
Yeah.
because everything that you are speaking, yes, I am a professional genealogist as well. Let me just tell you, learning about the women in my family, oh, that did something. Yeah. Just to see, like, they tell you, oh, your great grandma this time and that time, they just took this, they did that. And when I get into those records and I'm like, no, she divorced him. Like, it's not to say that that's a good thing, but just to see that, like, they were still standing up for themselves. They didn't care. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
When did you know you and your husband were like done? Because it was mutual. I assume you guys are still friends and all that, and it's beautiful. When did you guys know? Did you have that discussion? Was it part of your healing, or was it just like?
It was a part of healing, actually, because we had to unravel a lot together. We had a lot of conversations. But it's just like, how they say in marriage, like, it's like the little things change that you really don't even notice, It's just like that Drew Hill song. Like, look, just the little things. And it's like 2 years of that.
Yeah.
And it was just like strenuous.
Yeah, build up.
And just different things, different kind of conflicts happened that led us to really being like, hey, I think we need to do something different.
Yeah. Me and my husband, he's old. He's 37. He just turned 37. I didn't forget. I keep telling people 36, but he just had a birthday. And it's my last year in my 20s. I'm 29. And I was telling him, I was like, I can't go in my 30s with this. I literally started this healing journey 2 years ago. And I noticed that I needed to heal. When I noticed was through my marriage. Like, no one ever sat this long with me for my hurt to come out. Like, he wasn't the toxic one. I was. I would just get mad and like throw a chair, and he would just look at me like, his parents have a healthy upbringing. He had a healthy upbringing. My father-in-law passed a couple weeks ago. But they would have been, thank you. They were going on their 50th anniversary, and so he looked at me and was like, I wasn't raised like this. And I realized my dad's anger came into our, because he does, like, as soon as you tell him something that he just has to take a little accountability, it's throwing stuff, it's calling all kinds of women B words, and just, that's what I would do to, and I didn't realize I was repeating those behaviors, which was weird until I got therapy. I was like, oh yeah, my dad does do it. Like, you kind of logically know, but you don't know, like when I thought it was me. I thought that was just who I was. It's learned behavior. So it's crazy how marriages will help you grow, even if it is you have to separate. It's like it'll show you something, marriages.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Really. I think I just got with him so young. It's like I had to really just figure out who I was without a man by my side. Because for me, that's where the autonomy came in. I realized, I was like, I am not my own person anymore. Everything is connected to him. Everything is connected to children. I couldn't take it. Like, I really couldn't take it. And so he wasn't really, it just didn't fit anymore. So it's just like, okay. And now, I'm out here and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Is he out there too?
No, he's in Virginia.
Okay.
So yeah, as the kids for the summer, I'm
My oldest goes for the summer to Florida. Yeah, with and that's the thing is I would have married him at 19, and I kept praying. I'm like, God, if this man is for me, and he just was like, you're not gonna know till I show you, because he kept cheating. He was a serial cheater, but he would always say like the text messages were, I was helping a girl with her GED, like something that I would just be like, he knows I'm kind, so I'm like, oh, okay. And literally went to his job, was in the car with his pants down with her. And I was like, oh, I'm listening now, God. Yeah. 3 months away from our wedding. Canceled, paid for everything. Yeah. But I walked away from it all because I would have, that would have been my marriage. And I don't know what type of woman I would have been now if I would have married him. Negro had the nerve to still think it was on, like our wedding was on. Like, because I wasn't responding, but he was like showing up to all the meetings we had for. I was like, why are you it's not, I'm not showing up. Like, it was wild. But I can't imagine, because at night, like, I'm glad you didn't have that experience, but I just know at 19, it's like I look at like my nieces and nephews and sisters, they're young, they're like 19, 20, 21. And I relive when I was that age. I'm like, what does a 19-year-old really know? Like, when I hear them talk, they know, but what do they really know of what we know now in our 30s? Yeah, nothing. Absolutely. So I'm like, if I didn't, I know there's no way they do.
He was just my partner, and like at accomplishing goals. That's really what it was for me. It was cool, and hey, it is what it is. And now I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna just establish things for myself on my own, and it's the journey. I've been like everything I said a few months ago, it's just been coming so fast. So I'm just like, okay, like, whatever.
For you, girl. Do you do vision boards?
I do.
I'm gonna send you after, like, get off, and like I'm gonna email you this link, and please use my links because I get some money back and I'm able to donate. I have some clients that are actually in shelters, so I'm able to send them like little journals and pens, just because I'm like, journal. So if I could send that, but I'm gonna send you a link. There's a vision board on Amazon that's made for just Black women, a Black woman's vision board clip art, and I love that one. Actually, it fell out today. Like, I love that. It's just everything I'm doing, like my meditation practice, the reading, the fitness, the podcast, all of it's on here. And content, I made this the end of December, before Christmas, and everything is like, but I love that I'm able to look at people like me, because I used to use just magazines, but I'm like, every person, I would put just the vision of like, oh, I want to help, but it'd be like, no offense to white people, would be like, white people out there, I can't identify as a white woman, I'm a Black woman. So to have people that look like me, and that book did something. I send it to everybody. I'm like, please get that. It's pretty dope.
I have the same problem, so thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you all that. I have a whole mental health link thing that has all the books that I've been reading to get up to this point in my healing. And it really, meeting people and doing things like this, I find more healing out of, like, more fulfillment in hearing people's story and them getting it out. Because it is, when I started this, I told like my viewers, I didn't have any at the time, but when I first started this, I just use it as a form of like talk therapy, because I couldn't like afford a therapist at that time. I was just talking. Something about just talking is a good release.
That's when you can hear it out loud. I talk to myself all the time.
Me too. Well, we're not really alone if our spirit. I always say there's two entities when I'm talking. It's really not to myself. And she's introduced me to a lot of things with the inner child healing that I had to do. I grew up in like a traumatic situation, and I wasn't really encouraged to do things, or I felt like I was walking on eggshells, kind of like the domestic violence you experience. I kind of was just always like, what's going to happen next? Because this isn't normal. I went from private school to living in the projects with my mom, and it was just confusing to me. I was just like, what is this? like it's not supposed to be normal. We just programmed that to be normal. So I went into like a matrix, I felt, because I'm like, I've never experienced that. And I couldn't make friends because either I was talked too white, or either I was too light, or or too dark for the light skin. It was just weird. It was a lot of like colorism that was happening, I feel. So I didn't really have friends. I always had to talk to myself, sadly. But I found like just knowing that I have the Holy Spirit there and my spirit, I'm able to like really turn my talking into just praying to him, to my spirit. And I was like, I'm gonna do all the things I was discouraged from when I was younger, like dance. So I started taking ballet. There's just a bunch of stuff just from talking, and I was like, I'm just gonna do it. Just get out there.
Yeah,
It's
that's
been
where I'm at
fun.
in life. Just like whatever. Like,
Yeah.
hey, let's
Yeah.
try it. Never know. You just never know. Yeah, and I'm the more I'm doing that and the more I'm listening to my intuition, regardless of what that looks like, I just find myself rewarded in the craziest places. It just, life has been a ball. Life has
No.
been a ball. Yeah.
I
Through all
truly
the
feel
hard stuff, it's like,
it's like
it's
we
been,
went through it so it could be this fulfilling. I feel like if
yeah,
I didn't go through it, I wouldn't be as fulfilled now. I'm just like, that was a lot, you know, like in the whole 29 years, I'm like that I went through a whole lot and I'm still so much death has happened and I'm just like, we get another day. We
we
get
get,
another day.
so when I was about 7 years old, I was living in Germany and I got hit by a car. Like hit, you know? Yup. The left side of my body is what took most of the impact.
Yeah.
I was on a bicycle and, obviously not anymore once I got hit, but I walked away. Like I've never had a broken bone. Like I got up, it was amazing. And so I hold that with me because I'm like, there is a reason I'm here. Because there is like to just get up, like the ambulance, they were so just like, girl, you're walking.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. I only
No,
had the
yeah, like
scar.
God kept you here for it. That's what I think about people around me. I'm like, why do they get on the other side of heaven and I have to stay here? You know, like not that I like want to die. I'm just like, oh, I'm like in the grieving process, you miss them, right? And I'm like, I miss them. Why did they go? Why am I here? You question God. And what I was taught in church is not what I'm learning now about God, which is weird. Like my foundation of just like growing up and going to church every now and then, it's what I heard. I knew I was comfortable with God. I knew that I should believe in God. But when I really start studying, like I actually like went and got a study Bible and started cross-referencing. I'm like, that's not what they started speaking in tongues. I was taught you're only supposed to speak in tongues in church, you know, and learning about it's like, no, you're supposed to practice speaking in tongues and all this stuff that I'm really reading and studying. I'm like, that's not what I was taught. So I think that's what my disappointment when I was going through the stuff I was going through. I was like really, I felt like I was really let down by God until I started healing and seeing like even that pain meant something. It meant for me to do what I'm doing today. And that's all that matters.
In those moments, I remember, oh my gosh, there's a book called The Fifth Mountain by Paulo Coelho, who wrote The Alchemist and all that.
Okay.
But it's about, I want to say, I think it's either Elisha or Elijah's, it's about his journey, but from his point of view. And I read it during such a hard time. And it just, at the end, Elijah was just like, you got me going through all of this. You told me to do this. Now you got me through it. It's been hard. It's tough. What do you want me to do? And like at the moment where he was about to give up, God reminded him of Jacob's ladder. Not Jacob's ladder. When him and Jacob wrestled, or maybe that is
talking about, but I can't get there. Yeah.
And it's just wrestling with God and holding him accountable for the things that he said he's going to do for you. Because it's like we're supposed to grow, you know what I mean? Like we have our children. We don't want to treat them like children the whole time. So you're supposed to grow into the same way that he is. So
I love that.
I've learned, like, even to sometimes, instead of making decisions ourselves, we'll just pray. Like, okay, God, what you think? And that whole book was just like, no, once you have gained a certain level, you know, you've gone through certain things, you understand things at a different level, you need to take a new level of responsibility,
I love
and you
that.
can hold me accountable for the things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that really.
I love that, because I always tell like one of my clients, like when am I gonna receive this? When am I like she was questioning God, like how I used to question God. And I'm like, well, and she's like, I know I'm not supposed to be asking that. And I'm like, no. And I even said that, I was like, you are, because even in the Bible it says we're supposed to have an earthly inheritance. And sometimes inheritance isn't always money. I always tell people our inherent wisdom, when we start learning and growing, there's a just natural wisdom that we just start talking, coming out. And I think that inheritance will make us go far, because of our lived experience. Even my therapist, like she said I don't need therapy anymore. I feel like she kicked me out of therapy, but she's like, no, from your lived experience and from how you talk, like after I think our 3rd month, she started bringing her journal. Like we started journaling everything, like conversations. And so you see, like even whenever I talk to any woman, I always bring my journal, because I'm like, there's something that they say, and I'm glad that I get to record this because I can just go back and listen. But there's something that every woman will say that is just, she's dropping a gem. And so that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Thank you. Hard learned lesson.
Yes, through lived experience. And that's all we really need. I feel like we, through our pain, get to kind of skip the line of like people who do have like degrees of like, because I'm like, through our live, they didn't live that. And me as a hairdresser, I didn't really learn how to do hair until after hair school. To my clients, after 6-7 years of doing hair, then I understood what I learned in school. I didn't understand it when I was doing it. So yeah.
My gosh. Yes, that's how I feel now. I feel like I've mastered certain parts of myself. And now it's like the way that I've been moving through life the past few months has almost been like magical.
Oh,
Just,
that gave me chills, because I was just using that word about the Bible, and she's like, I don't like, because a lot of my clients are Christian. She's like, I don't really like the word magical, and I'm like, but if you really read the Bible, the burning bush, Moses talking to the burning bush, that's magic. That's magic. That's why even like TD Jakes, he'll be like, that, don't do that. That's black magic. He refers to things as black magic because they know there's such thing as white magic, but not what the secular has made it. There is such thing, because I'm like, a burning bush, if a burning bush start talking to you, what do you think that is? Like, that's not magical. Everything about God is magical.
that's something I was afraid of for years. I used to, like, I have a lot of dreams and just so many supernatural things happen just all my life. And I shied away from it because I just would be like, am I a witch? I'm not supposed to be a witch.
You're
But now I
prophetic.
have understanding. It's just like I've leaned into it, and I'm just
Please
amazed.
get the book, because I feel like we are kind of on like that same shift. Get the prophetic responsibility.
Okay. The
By
prophetic.
Matthew Stevenson, I think it is. But just the prophetic, I'll email you all the links. But the prophetic responsibility, and I only think it's like $6 on Amazon or something. But read that. It's a short read. I think it's like 100 something pages. That put my whole practice in perspective, because I'm like, when you go to God about your business plan, like I literally was planning with God. I had put the blanket over my head. I brought my journal and I just start praying, and I would stop and write and stop, and he gave me the colors to what I'm going to receive. And I'm like, why am I having visions? And I was just told to like just trust those visions, because those visions are prophetic. Prophetic doesn't always, you go to people and like, you're gonna get a car, you're gonna get it's like you really have to go to God and be kind of spiritually awakened and go and realize that the pain, you gotta stop being mad at God, really. Because in forgiving him, I tell everybody, when you forgive anybody, there's a process you go through where you have to allow yourself to be angry. So I allowed myself to be angry at God for the people I've lost and the experiences I've had, and then I more so distanced that trauma and realized like how beautiful that what he was doing, he was always there, and how beautiful what I went through, how beautiful that was. Because I even say, even through my sexual assault, I'm like, I had to experience that, because most of my clients are sexual assault victims. I wouldn't know how to talk to them if that hadn't happened to me. I'm more comfortable talking about it. I don't cry. I help people now, and that is fulfilling.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh, you're just giving me.
I know. That's why I was like, you got to read that book, because I feel like we're on that same. You have to. We're on that same shift. Oh my gosh, it's a beautiful book, and I really, it'll be a. You'll you'll write me on Twitter, watch, like, I read it, watch, you're going to, because it puts so much in perspective. I'm like, this is what I need to do full time. And literally God put me in the place. My husband, you want to stay home? Yeah, I'm staying home. What do I? And then he just start birthing. God will birth businesses that I find I don't need the income. I'm just doing because that's what I was told to do. So once you start doing it, it starts falling into place. People donate. People, if they don't, they'll send a resource. Or like one of my clients, I'm doing my first workshop, my healing workshop for the Salvation Army, because she is like the manager of the Salvation. It just felt, it's just like, oh, hey, I love what you're doing. Can you come here and do it in my workplace? And like, I just accept the things that are coming. I'm like, yes, just say yeses to everything that's about to come. Because if we're on that same shift, I know that that's happening to you as well. Like it has to be, or else you wouldn't be here. Like I feel, and my therapist, yeah.
Confirmation right now, because I get scared sometimes. I just called one of my really good friends a couple weeks ago, and I was like, the things are happening. Oh my gosh.
It's scary.
Yeah, it's because for me, I feel like, do I have everything to handle it? Like, oh my gosh, it goes so fast. And he said to me, he said, well, just breathe and, lean in. That I know usually your instinct is to kind of back off and slow down, but he said, just lean in. I've been doing that, and I'm just so glad to hear you say that and see how things are working for you, because that's
they're gonna work for you. I mean, it just happens. And also feelings will. I always recommend people in this journey get, like, I have a pillow because I'm dramatic and spoiled, and my husband's like, get that. But there's like magnet ones, they're like $7. And fear, these are all our emotions that we experience. It's science-based, and these are all in the Bible as well. And there's also a book I love, Spirituality Before Religion. And it talks about how without science, there is without spirituality, there is no science. And without science, there is no spirituality. And so everything just started lining up, and like, just to articulate how I'm feeling, how it helps me set boundaries now. It helps me set healthy, clear boundaries. Like, I'm meeting so many other women that, like, because my first experience, I have a mother wound. So that was I just didn't trust women, and God, it's like, his sense of humor is like, you're about to meet so many women, it's just like, and it's kind of like that push, like I'm like this, and he's just pushing, like, you gotta, nope. And because I just don't like to be social, and it's so funny, he puts me in place. I didn't like to dance because of the trauma around it, and he's like, nope, go to ballet, go. So just lean into it because it's fun, and don't fear. Jesus had fear. We all fear God, but we shouldn't fear what's to come, because it's once it starts once it rolls, it's going to start rolling. Like, that's what happened to me. I'm like, what is all this coming? All these resources, all these people. It just and it aligns all the time. It's like that I was just journaling that, or I was just praying about that, and literally God's humor is it cracks me up, because I'm like, oh God, that was you,
the ultimate comedian. Yeah. But I'm you know what the saying is, the wound is where the light enters.
Yes.
So I try to remember that. Anything that scares me is like, that's probably where I need to go.
Or makes you uncomfortable, right?
Yeah, like I in real life, like, I can be charismatic and all the things, but like, that's one of the things, one of my best friends, she was just like, you've got to, like, utilize the internet. You need to really get on there. And so actually, when we communicated that, this is like, okay.
Me too. I was like, well, God loves public displays.
Right. Yeah.
I realized that I was journaling that, and I was like, God loves public displays, because I wasn't active on my social media. That's why I had like 20 followers. And well, on Twitter, I think I have like 200, but on like my Instagram, when I started, I relaunched this because it was Dear Mama, Hi Daddy. And I felt like I was giving too much of the power to my parents, and like what I've been through, and getting specialized in positive psychology. I'm like, it really, really wasn't their fault. Like, as much as I wanted it to be, and I want them to take accountability, they wouldn't know where to start. And still to this, they don't. And so I had to understand and give compassion there. But I felt when I was doing this fear, and like switching like the name, like, because I kept hearing the voice, like, nope, healing homegirl, you're gonna meet a whole bunch of homegirl, all this stuff. And he was just speaking to me like in my language. And I was like, I either thought one, I was gonna die. Like I felt like I'm like maybe I'm dying. Like maybe this is him telling me like I'm gonna leave soon. I started getting the stuff prepared. I was telling my husband, I was like, we need to get life insurance. Like I was getting so scared. I all the experiences, the visions. I was like, I'm gonna leave Earth. That's why. Nope.
I'm
It was just
relating
to meet
hard.
people.
Yeah.
It's just to meet people. So I love it. I'm going to thank you for joining me today. I have so much gratitude for you. Please, girl, I'm gonna text you. Like we became friends. Like that's
Yeah.
just what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Because I want to send you all these stuff and just I want updates for. I want to see where this is. Like that's beautiful, your story, and I want to not necessarily like track it, but I do. I want to see what God has coming for you, because that's going to be beautiful. And we'll just do a part 2 when it does. But I know something's happening in your life, and I really want to either one, be a part of it, or two, just hear about it. I really genuinely do, because
Yes, we
that's
are friends
amazing.
now. It's
Yes.
happening.
Yes. Thank you.
It's happening.
Thank you. And I need it. And that's exactly when I was praying for like my sisters and praying for like, I wanted a healthier relationship just within my family with the women. It's God's humor again. He's like, oh, you want sisters? I'm gonna give you a plethora. I have met so many women online where I'm like, and it's been in such alignment. So yeah, I'm gonna text you all the links. We're gonna talk later.
Yes. Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much for allowing me to come on here. I have really enjoyed myself. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
so welcome. Thank you. Oh, we'll talk soon, girl.
All right. Bye
Okay,
bye.
have a good night.
You
Bye.
as well.